Boker Tov. We had a Boker Tov. I want to hear you. Boker Or. Excellent. Great energy in the educator room. And our next session is talking about where Israel lives, learning through spaces and the five senses. And before then even start, you probably noticed that on your table, last night you had different things, today you're having different things, tomorrow we will have different things on the table. The classroom, we actually brought lots of posters to put, but the hotel didn't allow us. So we're going to do other things with them, like one of them we put in the back, like lying down. We thank JNF for bringing these huge maps. We are improvising. We have a space. It's very important. So now I'm going to give Dan to walk us through the five senses when learning about Israel. Thank you, Dan.
Terrific. Thank you. Boker Tov. Good morning. Very, very excited to be here. As a quick, I just want to quickly show you the last 24 hours. I think the theme of today really is that pivoting. Hakol Zorem. We're just going to kind of go with it. So yesterday morning, I woke up in Chicago, got on a flight, landed here. And, I had a large amount of materials in a very large suitcase. I had Hebrew slang posters. I had mood magnets I had to give to you. I have these Israel resource cards, and there's various games, activities you can play. And that luggage, and more, ended up in Washington State. So it is on its way back. If it arrives, I will be happy to share that with you all. And if not, I've also gone ahead and on most of the slides added this little QR code which gets you in touch with me. And the reason I put it there is as I'm talking about something, instead of saying, if we had the cards, we would have done that, I'll just reference the cards, and if it sparks something and you want to learn more about it or want me to send you one, you can just scan that and you'll have my info as well. But the other part of pivoting here is obviously, when we prepared this, it was for an hour, and now we're at about a half an hour. So we're going to just touch on stuff. I don't want to just go faster. I want to give the space for this, and I also want this to be interactive because, I don't want you to just sit and listen. I want us to do. As an introduction to who we are, the iCenter, we believe that every Jewish young person develops a lifelong relationship with Israel and Israelis. And the wording in there was created about 17 years ago, and I believe it still holds true, even more so today, in that we're developing these lifelong relationships, right? It is the aim. It takes a long time. We're planting seeds, and sometimes our learners come back years later and they become Hebrew teachers themselves, or maybe they're here at IAC. So we're really developing that lifelong relationship, and it intentionally doesn't say Ahavat Yisrael, right? As a parent, as a teacher, I certainly hope it is, but especially today, it's nuanced, it's complex, right? But we are still in relationship, and it isn't, as referenced earlier, it's not binary, right? So it's very important that we're developing it, and it's not just with a place, but it is with the people, and that I don't need to expound on that because I know as I see some nods. The tarbut, the culture, the language, the people, it's such an important part of building that relationship. And where we are, really, everywhere. We also have, with Mina, we've worked with Unpacked. A month ago, we were doing their conference in Chicago together. So the reason I really appreciate sharing that with Momentum, we have an ongoing partnership with them. And the reason I love that is that these are all tools, right? I think sometimes, especially, in any sort of kenes, it's sort of, a competition of sorts. And what I love is each of these organizations is different. Each of them offers different tools, different approaches. And they're all for our toolkits, right? So at certain times you may want to use one or the other, or, as we've seen, you can actually use them together, which is really, really wonderful. And the last thing I'll just share in terms of where we are, because it also is represented here in the crowd today, the different programs that we offer. So we do this through the educators. So we are empowering the educators with tools, with approaches, with confidence, with competence to navigate Israel education today. So we have a master's concentration. The reason I want to mention that is Yoni Alon is a graduate of that. Yeah, give him a round of applause. So just because he's here, we have our conflicts of interest, which if you're not here for a year-long experience, we have a 2.5-day intensive, which focuses on conflict education. We have community initiatives. We have people we've worked with here. Yeah, let's give a round of applause. We have a graduate degree in Israel education, Mina, cohort 2. Which is wonderful. We have some people that we've worked with. I lost where, but camp. We've worked with the various camps, with the shlichim, with the year-round staff, and how to infuse Israel. We have Israel experiences. Next month we're bringing the Boston community to Israel. After that we're bringing Minneapolis. So ways to bring your community to Israel as well as webinars. We have one next week. And the reason I actually share this is perhaps it's a terrible sales pitch, but most of this is free or at low cost, because fortunately for our funders want to support this, and we also want to support you. So the tools, the approaches, the materials on the website are all free for you as well. We do this through what we call the Aleph Bet of Israel education. It's our pedagogies, our approaches. How many people here have formally studied education? It's fine if you haven't. Great. Oh, great. Most people. So really, these are the principles of good education, right? At the corner of it, we have learner-centered up there. Oftentimes, it's referred to as people-centered or student-centered. But we've packaged this specifically for Israel education, and you can see obviously some additions to standard good educational practices. And here's a quick quote which gets us into what we're talking about today. That's the latter half there. Israel education should live everywhere in the life of an educational framework. It should be a part of an immersive environment. And that's a big part of much of our work. I mean, I know some of you, and I've seen your work. So this is really more of a collaborative thing rather than me just expounding. And we see it here at IAC, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. And it's a big part of our work at the iCenter. So a piece that we often do, which if my luggage had come, and if we had the other half hour, I would love to this is the part where we could really hear from each other a bit more. But a big question that we ask is, what's your Israel story? Because as we see, our learners perhaps haven't been to Israel. There's a reference to intermarriage, interfaith. Perhaps people working in our system aren't Jewish, but they still have an Israel connection. They still have their Israel story. And so one of the tools, these cards, helps people identify a piece of their Israel story. And the way that I wanted to adapt it today, and I just want you to think about for 30 seconds or so, is to think about for yourself, personal, what's a smell or a taste or a sound that when that is recalled, it instantly brings you back to a moment in Israel. Or if you haven't been to Israel, an Israel-related moment. Just think about a smell, a taste, a sound that when you taste that or when you smell that, it brings you back instantly to a moment, a personal moment for you in Israel. Does anybody have that? What do you have? Yeah. And some laughs. That's good. It puts a smile on your face. Yeah. The Milky? Yeah. Wonderful. Hatikva. What does it recall for you? Is it a certain moment? A hotel. Great. Yeah. Startups. All right. Shokol bisakit. Yes. Shawarma. Right, the taste. Does it bring you back to a specific place, Hakosem or something? Does it bring something specific back when you think of shawarma? Who said that? Oh, I'm looking at you, Avishag. Sorry, I heard it over here. Does it bring back a specific, the taste, where you remember friends, family, right? There's a visceral. Right, yes, we'll take a few more. Yeah. Spices? Yes, the shuk. The shuk. One more. Ah. Interesting. And we have a lot of, yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, one more. Your family. And so when you see a picture of them, or so what does it recall? Is there a certain moment that comes to mind? Your daughters. Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. So all of that plays into the why for us. So when we're designing these learning environments, I'm speaking the we of the iCenter, but also the we collectively here. When we look at it, we use these senses and these emotions. I mean, even the reactions when someone would say something, it recalled something for all of us in that moment. So we're using these senses and these emotions to support the learning, because it gets you emotionally involved. It creates these additional lasting memories, right? When you think about the pizza spice, things like that, right? It brings you back, and if you have the opportunity to enjoy that now, it creates dialogue, right? If we had the pizza spice here, you would all be talking about it, we'd be using it, and oh, when I used this last, I can't believe you have this, right? It's an opportunity for conversation and getting to know each other. Again, sharing an idea or telling a story. And also, this adapts, right? This changes according to timely events, both the positive, Yom Ha'atzmaut is a key example, and of course the last 2 years, right? We see new memories and new visceral responses to certain sounds, certain sights, and phew. And also the idea of intentionality, of planning, right? So it's really what I would say is the difference between, let's get a tabboon and we're going to fire something up and we're going to do it, which can be a fun experiential piece. But if there's learning behind it, how does it connect to what we're doing? Does it become another piece? Do we learn perhaps about the history or a certain culture that uses it? And how do we start using it as an educational tool rather than just a fun piece, right? Because that goes to, I skipped that. Oh yeah, I was cutting off things rapidly at the table here. So we'll get to some of the examples, and these I pulled from our website, and I know you have a lot more. And it's a genuine offer because you can scan my information. I would love to hear what you're doing, and I wish we had a little bit more time afterwards. I would genuinely love to hear, and I hope you'll share with each other the great ideas that I know you're creating. I'm looking at Eti Dolgen here, who has a Gangani, Modom Kochadash, and it's a very immersive and integrative environment there. So when we look at sites, these are the posters that are currently en route from Washington State. But we have these individual posters, which, again, I don't have to elaborate on because the wonderful panel we just had talked about the value of Hebrew, and if you don't speak Hebrew, you can still, if you don't speak the Hebrew words, otiot, you can still see it through the transliteration, right? And you can still use it. And it's a very similar way to the cards that we just played with, the deck of cards. We have these posters, these colorful posters as well, right? So we can see the Hebrew around us. We have these mood posters, right? So atzuv, sababa, sameach, the social emotional learning aspect, how we start now connecting Hebrew to it. So even if they don't know the words, right? Even just putting them up and touching the emotion that I'm feeling right now for the younger learners, right? We start bringing in Hebrew, perhaps even more covertly, but it's in the space. We also have these labels, right? Again, the idea of it being in the space, supporting the learning, and we've seen it in many classrooms where they start putting these labels around the room, the shulchan, the different pieces as well, in the wherever they might be eating. There's other labels, but again, it's just bringing Hebrew in. And what we've seen is that even just the infusion of it, they start learning it. They actually are absorbing it. Perhaps it's like a Duolingo type effect where they start using it. And also art, modern art from Israel, right? When I was growing up, I keenly remember this like airbrush black and white picture of Ben Gurion, and that was Israel, because that was Israel education at the time. And now we see these vibrant modern pieces of art from Israel. There's a few more that are coming from City Cat Studios, it's called, in Tel Aviv. But each of these also creates dialogue, right? The interpretation of this. What do you see? What is this? Inquiry. It can be a great conversation piece. And again, reinforcing what was shared earlier, we don't have to have all the answers. It's art. It's subjective. but it creates conversation, and it creates perhaps portals to be learning more about Israel. The Paralympics. We have Maccabi here, so we have perhaps there's conversation again thematically that we can start tying it into different pieces. We see some diversity in some of the people there that can create dialogue about the many faces of Israel. We certainly have the leaders all picking up the Jaffa oranges. And sounds. You offered some of these sounds here that you heard. This is mine. This is mine. When I hear matkot, that brings me back. Yeah, tak tak tak. That brings me back. That really brings me back, and even the laughter. I'm glad to hear it, because even that sound, if it's environmental, right? We have a beautiful beach scene here in the Shuk area, or the little nonprofit area, and let's add some sound. I'm going to go with the speaker, and I'm going to add it later. Israeli music, right? Right. I just saw some reactions there, right? You all have your own. I'm just letting you know we do have various Spotify playlists that have been, parent approved. A lot of times, maybe we'll go to a camp and there's some songs from Jimbo J that maybe aren't the most appropriate for a camp setting, but we have various playlists that also capture different moods, right? The up tempo songs about hope, different pieces like that. And again, the idea of the labels that I mentioned earlier, that's certainly for sight, but also sound. When we start using the words, right? When we start incorporating them into what we're doing. And the last one is taste, because that was also brought up here, right? The last thing we had was a bunch about the spices and the shuk, and so creating that environment. And the smells and just the sounds that come from it. Limonana is a really wonderful one. I see some smiles. I would love one right now. But also easy to make, right? It can become a tactile experience as well. That's very much connected to Israel. Watermelon is, of course, a wonderful summer treat as well. And I threw in that picture of the taboon because I knew I was going to reference it earlier there. But what was exciting about that is with the school that we had worked with, the taboon was something that was donated and they just wanted to use it, and there wasn't a lot of intentionality behind it. But when they flipped it and they actually started really creating a model for learning and really an arc of the experience, it became actually a centerpiece that they kept asking. There was a ritual. Can we do the taboon again? Can we do the taboon? Because it wasn't just fun, but they had certain rituals connected to it at that point. So it became a strong staple of their learning. And the other piece is the element of surprise. I think that is such a valuable tool and not just the surprises like the tech isn't working, but the surprises where, you walk into a room and it's transformed, right? We could have come in and it could have been just rows, just like at the plenary, which obviously logistically makes sense for that. But here we have some tables, and perhaps we come in next time and it's a semicircle, right? So we can change the space. We can, I know some teachers that every Friday they created an escape room in their classroom, right? So again, it's the element of surprise, which can really excite and activate the learning experience. So I'm curious here. I mentioned a few things, but what have you seen here, thinking about the five senses, what have you seen here at IAC that perhaps could be used as an educational tool in terms of an immersive or integrative environment? The shuk, yeah? The shuk. The what? The shuk, yeah. It's visual. Music, yeah. The schmoozing, right? When I'm walking around and I'm hearing the Hebrew, I mean, it is Havrit lo mesuyenet, but to be here, it's wonderful to hear it. I mean, I feel like I'm transported to a Kenes Baaretz. Anything else? The what? Content, the tochen, yeah. The content, of course, and that's paramount, right? This can be a primary piece, the immersive, integrative environment, and its purpose should be to also support the tochen, right? The content as well, right? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Lamalo. Exactly. Why not? Thank you. This is my sister. No, I'm just kidding. So I'll show you. So I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip for the sake of time here. So I want to get to this, right? Because we all, whether we work in a school or a supplemental program or really any environment, a nonprofit, right? It comes down to the money, right? We'd love to create an environment like IAC does, but this is where we're going to get. It's going to get fun. Let us play. I had music too, but it's not going to play. We already know it's not going to play. The Price is Right for our school. Hey, woohoo! All right, so the way this is going to work is similar to what we just mentioned in terms of an immersive environment. I have pictures from our office or from a Kenneth that we've done near our office, and we're going to play a little game. So what we have here is I'll always have a picture that inspired what we created, right? So here we have a picture from somewhere in Israel that we took, and we were really inspired by what it created. Again, there was something about the smell and the sight that just really seemed to capture Israel at that moment for us. So we have here, again, it's not a parallel, and it's one example. And if we had more time, I could show you multiple ways that we did it. But here was a first attempt that we had at it. So what we're going to do, we're going to ask for a representative from each table. And if you just rather watch, that's okay too. But we'll just have one person from each table come up and tell us how much they think this cost for us. And just like Price is Right, you don't want to go over, right? You don't want to go over. So whoever gets closest to it without going over will win a prize. All right, so if we can have some volunteers, and if it's not by table, that's fine. If we can just have, a couple volunteers here. I'm sorry? Dollars. Good. We're based in Chicago, but we cover all of North America, and we do have a team in Israel, so we work in dollars. So is there any volunteers who want to come on up? Would you come on up? Oh, you want to stay there? That's okay. $100. All right. Anyone else? Less? 40, 50? 50. Okay, we have 100, 40, 50, 200, 250. Okay. I want to work at your school if you guys are spending 250 on this. All right, so what do we got here? We have Dada at the top. These were free, right? Dada coffee place outside of Tel Aviv, because we just asked for the empty bags, right? So we filled it with something, right? Again, we're being resourceful, but again, it's for the look. Here we have this row here, and these right here, and this. These are Keramika. They were a Shana Tova from a community that was building these. It was a fundraiser, so very happily we gave $100 for that. All of that is obviously reusable. These pieces right here, these bottles, 9 colorful bottles. Someone just had them in their house. We actually only used it once. We ended up not liking it. It didn't feel Israeli enough, but we wanted color. I'm just showing you what we had done. So that was 0. The little chalkboard from Michael's was about $4.19. Yeah, I see some nods on that. These books from Macstock in Israel, right? $5. The wooden frame here, 0. We just had it. It's certainly not the nicest. So the total is 110. All right, so for you we have a B'tei Avon lunch bag. This is something that we give to our cohorts. Again, it's functional, useful, and it will remind them of that experience that we had. All right, here's something smaller. Again, we were just out on the Merpeset there, and we see this plant. And we did not transport any live animals or plants from Israel, but how can we bring this back into our environment here? So something very simple, right? Just on the table, just a touch. How much? How much do we spend? 25? What? No, not including the table. Just for this one. Obviously, we had multiple tables, but 7. Yeah, it's real. It's real. 50, 20, 7, 3, 0. Okay. Let's see. We have a succulent from a local store from the Albertsons there. So it was $20. The multi-pack of chalkboard signs. So we have about 12 of them. That was 10. So if we were to say, we could really say like $1 but for right now we'll just say that. So it was a total of 30. Did we get some? You said 25? You said 30? Well, you're both winners. All right. For you, we have a notebook, and again, when we talk about intentionality, so with our notebooks, again, we wanted something small. This is for when we brought groups Tiulim to Israel, so something small that could take notes. But if you write right to left, it works that way. If you write left to right, it works that way. So there's no back, right? That was something we always saw, and the Israelis would be like, "Ma p'tom." So this works both ways. We'd love for you to have that. And for you, we have this lovely tote bag. Trader Joe's can take it. But some beautiful art from Israel for you. Thank you. Okay, all right. Let's get another one in here. Oh, so I just gave it away. That's okay. So the reason I wanted to share this, of course, now it's not even working. But we saw this in Israel, right? And how can we capture this? We don't want to do a recreation. And so this is when we started getting a little bit more of our subtlety, right? So we would have these plants. You can see that it's 30, but the ribbon, we bought a 5 yards of ribbon for $2.50 from Michael's. So obviously a lot of usage for that. We had the flowers. These are dried flowers. We started also figuring out the live plants don't always last. So we started then using some dried flowers. Right, and these came in a pack, so we had about 8 of these for $10. So and those are on Amazon. Right? So we oh, right. Thank you. Oh, this would have done it. That's right. Oh, you win. Okay, congratulations. Here, we have a consolation prize, a spinner for you that has little chargers in there. Yeah, all right. So, great. I just want to show just 2 more here. $30.50. So, I'm just going to quickly go through that. Again, so this was donated. These were donated from someone's home. So, again, they become artifacts, and people are actually playing the music. And what does it say on there, which is kind of fun. So we recognize this place. What is this place? Yes, Tumol Shom in Jerusalem. So again, we were getting away from trying to recreate it, but just the feel of it. So we were in a hotel, right? We're limited in what we can do with the space, but we started moving couches around to try to create some corners. It's the pictures. You see the record player that was in the other one. We just we put it there just to kind of create it, right? Just kind of create that environment. We took the bookshelves from our office, so we're just sort of creating a space, the avira of it, right? So it isn't a one-for-one at all, but we have the books in the background. We have the tables that you can sit at, even the rug, right? Even the tile. We try to capture that a little bit. So again, what we're doing is actually repurposing things that were already in our office. So this we didn't buy anything for. And then again, the next time we did it, for conflicts of interest for that cohort, this was in our office. So again, moving side tables around. Again, things that were donated. This is shesh besh that we have in our office. But we just made a sign. We weren't going to say Tumol Shom, but we have Et Nachta Cafe there. And you can see a lot of the pieces that you saw before, right? So we're starting to repurpose some of the pieces that we have. And this is something that we've used a lot. So at ICON, our big biennial convening, where we were going to spend a little bit more for something that was going to be durable and last. So we have this backdrop on a frame. We have this lit sign that Asufa, an art group in Tel Aviv, created for us, and they have mini versions you can buy. and this bench. All right, so, and then the ceramic anemones as well, kalaniot. So again, this is one of the pictures that inspired us, how to do that. And I'm curious, so this is again in our office, and you can see too a graduated version. As part of a program, we purchased these stamps, these stickers that tell these stories and creating resources around this. But we put it on the bench, which is, again, bringing us back to perhaps a bench in Israel. So I'm curious here, well, how much? This one, I will say, was a little bit more because, again, we knew that these were pieces that were going to be at a larger kenes and that we will use for many years. 150? 400? One more? What is it? 200. Okay. So the street signage was I think it was expensive, but it was $100. The wooden bench, Home Depot, $118. We spent a long time looking for that. The stickers of meaning was a donation, $54, and we have a lot more. And it's not our thing; it's the stickers of meaning. But if you are looking for that, they're called stickers of meaning. This one was $372. You were the closest. Wow, you're cleaning up today. You're cleaning up. All right, we'll find something else good for you there. And then I just wanted to show. So this is the last one. So you can see this is in the corner of our last convening for iFellows. We brought those pieces and set this up, and it just became a place just to sit in the corner and have a rest. So we're at time, and I want to be mindful of that. So I'll quickly just go through. I'll just show these pieces. Again, bringing in some of the avira. Of course, Bamba Beasley, the Shalvati, Klaniot. This is the one example I just wanted to show. So for our kenes, we had this artist in Israel create this large piece, and this is a learning point for us. We did it on foam board, and it did not last very, very, very long. So it wasn't something we could reuse, unfortunately. You notice we had these from before. So we ended up inspired by much of what we see in Israel. We started making that, repurposing it. So just to wait again, something doesn't work, we're going to make it. We're going to make it work. And the last thing here is obviously with just some simple fabric, which is very cheap at Michael's, a couple dollars, just in the center of a table, just putting that down. And it was actually something I saw here yesterday. Someone had done that with what was in the tables here as well. So great, I'll just skip through. Great. So I just wanted to quickly offer that we have this group. It is open to everybody. It's not really an iCenter platform. We're just sort of Wieners in this moment. But we have various educators that are asking questions, offering resources, and we'd love for you to join it and offer what you're creating and build your network as well. So the iCenter.org/WhatsApp will get you there. And that's it. And then my email is right there. And I just want to thank you all so much. We got it in. I think we right on time. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much, Dan. And if the luggage will come today, yes. No, when the luggage come today, we will do something also during Shabbat. We can bring it. We can get a few more minutes. The idea, we're rushing. In education, the idea is to uncover, not to rush, and to connect. So some of the things that we're doing are not good education, because the idea is really to connect and take our time. But because you're here for the full Shabbat,
we're planting the seed.
Yeah, but also we will have the time in between. The time in between session is as valuable, like in the Torah, the gaps between the words, as important as the word themselves. So really take the gap and do it. There are several other fascinating sessions happening right now at the summit. We deliberately didn't put education track sessions so you can experience the other speakers. At 2:30, there's going to be a plenary. All of you come. If you weren't here last night, if you're here last night, you feel the energy and what it's through. So come and meet us at 2:30. There's going to be several Kabbalat Shabbat options. If you did sign up for Shabbat dinner, you can go to the Shabbat dinner. If you didn't sign up for Shabbat dinner, my community is going to meet it in room one, community room 1. I'm going to share with you where. You can bring your meal and come and join us. If you don't want to sit alone or go with friends, you're welcome to come and join us. What? מה זה community room? She will find out and tell you. Yeah, community room 1. And tomorrow, as we mentioned, all of the sessions are going to be Shomer Shabbat. And Margalit is going to do something. Dan referenced like art. She's going to work with us how to use art, Israeli art, to bring to our classroom from early childhood to adult. We printed it because we knew that we don't have technology. It's like when we go to a museum and other things. Yes, when is the next? I want to, like I was talking with some of my team from back in Boston. So I already told them like, we should come together to this like intensive days. And I want them to take them with momentum to Israel and maybe with JNF, because just invest in yourself. Because when you have more, you can give more. So continue and do more. Mushlam. Mushlam. כן. יפה. So then, when is the next one? If we want to join, how do we?
So our conflicts of interest, the next cohort actually is starting next at the beginning of February. So that one is full. But every quarter we have one, and it's on our website. If you're looking for a master's degree, we have several people, Dan, Kurtz, Mina, myself have gone through it, and the applications are opening next week. If you're thinking, I'm a working professional, I can't do it, we have leaders proving that it is possible. And again, if you just email me, I'm happy to, if you're looking for something. The other thing is the model of conflicts of interest, we're taking that to communities as well, so we can come to you and to your teachers, which is probably more cost effective as well. IAC Boston.